Right in the current. Right in the current.
Today on Legends of Rod and Reel, you'll meet the salt of the sea.
Oh.
Mark Sosin's his name, and after a half-century of books, columns, and television shows, just about everything fishing is his fame. We'll tag along with this legendary fishing writer and teacher in his home waters in South Florida. And we'll find out how a fella who grew up in New Jersey ends up inducted into the International Fishing Hall of Fame. Mark Sossin, a legendary fishing story coming up today on Legends of Rod and Reel.
All who seek fish are not created equal. Some anglers who ply the waters possess a passion unbridled, with catching skills unmatched. With all fish, they see eye to eye. They are the Legends of Rod and Reel.
Another perfect fishing day in South Florida. Historically perfect.
It's the first lighthouse on the Florida coast. It was started by General Meade when he was a lieutenant in the Army.
And fishing perfect.
What we're doing is watching that depth sounder, looking for it to mark fish. As soon as it marks fish, Charlie gonna throw a handful of chum overboard.
Captain Charlie does as he's told.
That's how you find them. See them coming in on it?
Yeah.
Another perfect fishing lesson as told by the salt of the sea who likes perfect scenarios.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I'd love to get these guys from Minnesota. Just toss it out there, you know? It's just like a bass or a walleye. That's a false albacore, a little tunny, or what we call bonita.
Mark Sossin, fishing perfectionist, fishing legend, fishing pioneer, writer, teacher, television star. His angling accolades are as many as waves on a windy day.
I release all the fish, and what I'm doing is I'm going to cut that lead treble hook off with a plug. Just leave one on the back. I'm not against people taking some to eat within limited numbers, but to kill fish for the sake of just hanging them up and saying, hey, look at me, I don't believe in that.
Mark Sosin's never been shy about rocking the boat with a piece of his mind.
If we don't protect our resources out here, there aren't going to be any fish. We have much more sophisticated equipment than ever before. We got boats that can reach areas that they never could before. They can just wipe out fish.
So, who is this serious guy? Real blowhard or real fish conservationist? Just another fisherman on TV? The answer is Mark Sossin is a living pioneer of saltwater fishing.
Gulf Stream is right offshore here. You're almost on the edge of the Gulf Stream. And the number of species here is incredible. You have a tremendous number of species.
You'll see some boils in it right now.
You never know what you're going to get.
Might have to put one on a hook, or you can chuck a topwater in there.
Look at him go. Look at him go. Look at how much line he took. That was a full spool. And you just can't whip him easily. Trick now is to pump them in. I use my thumb here, put a little extra pressure with my thumb. That's why I don't use braid, because I have my hands on the line all the time. I'll do this. You're either working the fish or the fish is working you. And change the angle. Pull them this way. Then I go the other way. I get paid big bucks to take this punishment. And people call this fun?
It's bonita. Nice one, though.
I don't know what you want to call them, but...
Okay. Almost. I wonder why. About an 18-pounder.
Whoa.
No wonder why it put so hard.
Whoa.
That's a fat boy right there.
Me or the fish?
Fish.
Oh, the fish. All right, Charlie. One of the things you do, you drop a bonita. Most fish we put in the water and revive them, but a bonita needs to have the water go through his gills, and you throw him down in head first. And that's the proper way of releasing a bonita, tuna, any of the tuna family.
Okay, Coach Sossin, but how do you release whatever it is I've got on?
You know, Mark has been doing this for 50 years. I don't know. How do you survive 50 years of fighting fish like this?
He got a big old kingfish. Let me get my glove. Yeah, take your time with him. Take your time with him. That was not what Uncle Charlie expected. He'll go under the boat, he'll make circles, just I'm gonna need a little room to get this fish. See it? Nice king. He'll make a few circles. We want to circle him out before I grab him.
That's a beautiful kingfish that Ron's got. We just didn't expect to catch it. They're here, but when the bonita are around, they never have a chance.
Kings are notorious for that last run. One more.
There he is. Oh, my.
Nice fish, huh?
It's a beauty.
Let me get that hook out real quick. Hold on to the line. All right, check this out. Let's get a picture. Arr! Nice, King. Watch those teeth.
I never had a king before.
Well, that's a king mackerel, and that's a nice king mackerel. We call these smokers. Woo! Good job.
Usually you can't put this in the water that something doesn't jump on it.
Mark Sossin may have written the book on saltwater fishing, but sometimes fish still get the last word. His fishing buddy, Captain Charlie, knows that all too well.
Yeah. It's fishing. Right when you think you got them figured out. Never leave fish to find fish.
But legendary angler Mark Sossin isn't about to call it quits.
One of the things we do is we put a loop knot in flies and lures, hooks. Makes all the difference in the world. It gives a better action, enables the fly to work on that loop, go down and moves. And I never tied directly to anything. I have a loop in almost anything I use.
If Mark Sossin sounds like a fishing professor, that's because at home in South Florida, his house is his schoolroom, where his life's passion covers the walls.
I just love getting up in the morning, walking in here, take a cup of coffee, you know, and you just see this stuff because fishing is my business. Right. It's my hobby and my business. And I like to be surrounded by fish paintings. But Susan's been very cooperative. She doesn't put her art, and she's a student of art, but she doesn't put all her art up here. She lets me have fish pictures.
So you rule this wall.
That's my wall. That's why it's painted yellow. Nobody can touch it.
Susan is Mrs. Sossin, wife and partner since 1966.
I wanted to wait till next spring for tarpon season, but she said absolutely not.
I said, we got to be married this year.
I said, but I'm checking the tides, you know, to see when we can get married. Susan has been supportive of me for 43 years. She has never questioned anything I did, and whatever I did, she was behind me 100%, and that really helped.
In the meantime, Mark and Susan raised 2 boys and became pioneers in the business of fishing journalism.
When I married him, he was writing. He would stay home in the apartment, and I would go to teach at school. And it just seemed natural and normal, and I never thought of it as being different or odd.
Today, the fishing words written by Mark Sossin could fill an ocean liner, but the first words were the hardest.
I didn't know how to start, so I started selling fishing tackle, being a tackle rep. Problem was, without a track record, you couldn't get the good lines, and without the good lines, you couldn't make any money. Did that for about a year, and then I started writing.
50 years later, Mark Sossin's byline appears on more than 3,000 articles, plus columns in Sports Afield and other magazines, and fishing books from fresh to salt.
I used to write for Boys Life, the Boy Scout magazine, and the toughest thing they ever asked me to do was say, tell us all we need to know about bass fishing in 500 words. Well, there's volumes written on it. And I took that very seriously and spent a long time coming down to 500 words. I still teach myself to write. I still review my stuff. I still want to be better at this, at television, and anything I do. And, you know, I'm at the twilight of my career, but I still want to grow.
What's your favorite book that you've written?
Through the Fish's Eye, for one, because it opened the door relating science to recreational angling. Before that book, nobody had ever talked about it or done it. How does a fish smell? How does he see? What does he see? And all that. Today they talk about it all the time, but back then it was so new.
What he really was and still is a fishing addict.
Every Sunday we would go up to this stream, and my mother would put a blanket out, and we would have a picnic lunch, and my father would trout fish. And that's where I caught my first fish.
Mark's most famous catch may be a yellowfin tuna caught on a fly.
Nobody had ever done that before. Joe Brooks had talked me into it, told me, "You can do it, son." And I thought I could until I caught my first one on conventional tackle, and then I wasn't so sure, but we managed to do that. In those days, the tackle, by today's standards, would be considered primitive, and it was from an anchored boat in Bermuda, and I just got lucky and barely landed them.
Oh, the memories. Memories of fish, of stories, of looking back into the prop wash of life. And Mark's friend and tackle store owner, Tom Green, has watched it all unfold.
The biggest story I hear all the time is, "Oh, he's a grumpy old man." That's the scenarios they've used for years, and I said the little story when people, Mark comes in on Saturdays a lot of times, sits in the chairs over there like the barbershop atmosphere. And the little kid walks in, he signs a hat, gives an autograph or whatever, goes out of his way to help people.
Coming up, Márk Sόσιν goes from big-time magazines to big-time outdoor television. We'll tag along as a fishing legend keeps casting through life.